Good morning, another day, another build, and today I'm gonna work on my dream car. This is my 83 MK1 Golf. It's actually my very first car. I bought it back in 2015 for 400 euros with the idea of I'm gonna drive this thing until it doesn't pass inspection anymore, and then I'm gonna, take it to the junkers because it's not worth anything. It's a MK1, but not the popular one. It's not the GTI. It has like a 1.1 liter in it, so it makes as much power as an asthmatic mouse. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna drive this thing until I cannot drive it anymore. It would be a nice adventure. It's a cool automotive history piece. The design, is legendary. So that was gonna be that, basically. But then, as every car guy will tell you, it came to the point that it wasn't gonna pass inspection anymore. And I was like, nah, I'm not ready to get rid of this thing. So I parked it in a shed back in the Netherlands for I think a year and a half until I moved back to Stuttgart. And I finally got to a place where I was like, okay, I can start restoring this thing. So I drove it back on a flatbed from the Netherlands to a little tiny village that has a big shed where I can wrench on this thing. So I already did some preparatory work. It came as a complete car, but I took all of it out. So I gutted it down back to bare metal, took the engine out, sitting over there. Can I zoom in? Yes, I can. Whoa. Let's see, what else did I do? Yeah, actually what I did do already over the course of last winter is... So all of this was covered in a protective layer. Taking it off was a pain in the ass. Usually people have it sandblasted to get rid of it. I understand why, because it was a horrible thing. But it's off now. And that actually brings us to the build of today, because in the process of taking all of that stuff up, a lot of it came on the floor of the garage. And the guy that I rented it from is like, yeah, dude, that doesn't work. I totally agree with that, by the way. So I have to figure out a way to get this guy moving, or movable at least. The other thing that I want to do is build like a construction that I can roll it around. If I want to sand it down or anything, I can do it outside so it doesn't get like all dusty. I also want it to be able to rotate so I can access the bottom a little better. So there are things you can buy for that. It's one of those car rotisserie things, and I looked it up. They're expensive. They're like 1,200 bucks, and I was like, I can do that cheaper. So that's what this episode's gonna be about. It's gonna be me building a car rotisserie for the Golf. Yeah, so that I can move it around a little better. I've got some steel that needs to be cut. But since I don't own a table saw or a bandsaw, I'm gonna have to do it with the angle grinder. I'm gonna rig up the camera, make a little time-lapse video of that, and check back with you guys later. That was quite a lot of work, but I cut all the raw steel that I had into the pieces that I need to build together the basic frame. And I was thinking, maybe I can make a little rough estimate of what it's gonna look like before I actually start welding everything together. So each side is gonna consist of this base, and I hope that I cut it well enough that I can already start folding it. Ah, nice. So these are actually gonna be what the wheels are gonna be attached to later on. It's gonna look something like that. It's almost like it's done professionally. Square on that. It's gonna be this guy. And then square to this side, it's gonna be this guy. This is actually the member that's gonna be connected to the other side all the way. And then to strengthen the whole thing, I conjured up some gussets to triangulate it here. in there as well as there. And then it's gonna have these pieces here as well. Look at that. That is not bad. And then it's gonna hold this cross member. It's gonna be rotatable in this way to have the whole thing moving. Awesome. That is not bad at all. I'm pretty stoked on that. Awesome. Alright, time for a little update on the build. I fabbed up this little Mad Max looking bumper bar over here. Oh, and check out the booger weld quality on that. That is after grinding it down, lovely people. I don't really know how to weld yet. I'm learning. It's tougher than I thought. Learning as I go, I guess. So I booger welded all of this together. As you can see, these are the bolt holes where usually the bumper bar goes. It bolts in right there. And I've already made a little test. I can lift the front of the car. I probably won't be able to do it with one hand, but I can do it with two, which is a success. It means that it can support the weight, or at least half of it. Or, well, quarter, third, I don't know math. It feels like it's not really going really fast, but I guess I got some stuff done. Grinding away, welding away, and learning as I go along. Next up, I'm gonna actually take this guy like this, and then later on I will take this guy and I will weld it onto that, like so. But this is actually gonna be into that. That's gonna be my pivoting thingy. Maybe, just maybe, it's time for a little time lapse. Let's roll it. Quick update on the car rotisserie. As you can see, I have finished one part of it, and I think it's finally starting to get clear what I wanted to do with this guy. So we have one part here attached to the bumper frame, attached to this guy. This is like one big hinge, so the whole thing can turn on its axis. And then down here we have little wheels, so I can move the whole vehicle around. And the cool thing is that this is all detachable. I can take it off, so I can use this as sort of a base platform. So when I later on will work on like painting the car, or when the underside of the car is done, I can reuse this part and then make a different sort of frame for it to hold it together. So yeah, I'm actually pretty stoked with that. It's taken a little longer than I thought, and I'm learning a lot. I think it could be worse. So yeah, one half done. I'm gonna focus on the other half. So let's cue some sort of compilation here where I can make it look like it's not a lot of work, but actually this is a couple of days worth of work, which I wildly miscalculated. But it's fun, that's the most important thing. Yeah, let's get cracking. Still blowing quite some air. Let's see if I can turn it off. No, still going. Why is it doing that? Because oh, it stopped. So much peace and quiet. 1 + 1 makes 2. I finished up all the welding on the second unit. So in theory, these two things should hold the whole car and make it able to like slide around and rotate it and stuff. The last thing for me to do now is to tie them all up, make sort of a cross member thing, and that's gonna sort of run underneath the car, make it all sturdy, make it all stiff, and preventing from the two sort of like snapping or like that they don't like bend outwards when you move the whole car around. So my first way of going about it to connect these things was making this sort of stick of Sauron looking thingy that could sort of slide in here, but it's not a real solid construction. I need to figure out a way to bridge this, so it's not the best idea. So what I went about then is take a piece of angle iron like this, make one step to sort of make it as thick or as high as the bigger tube, and then take another one that sticks out on all 4 corners. And in that way I still have this sort of slide in, put a bolt through here, maybe a second one, and then I think it's a real solid construction. So that's going to be the way I'm going to go about it. Yeah, let's go to the time lapse. Later, we can finally start to have a look at the grand scheme of things. This is what I've been building. Obviously this piece is still way too long, so I have to cut that. I'm gonna weld some plate here, then later on I can put a bolt and a nut through this and then sort of clamp this whole deal into place. This is what it turned out to be. It's hanging in there and it's fully supporting. I have the little caster wheel so I can turn it every way I want. But the big question of course is, will it turn? Will it roticerate? So let's find out. Actually I already know the answer, but you guys don't. Okay, well, let's do that again, but then with the hatch actually locked. Ta-ta. Look at that. What up? So it's now sort of hanging by itself. I have to secure it in some way, which basically means that I'm gonna take a ratchet strap and strap this to that part so it sort of stays in one place. The same goes for when it hangs horizontally. I've actually already tested it out. It works mighty fine, which means I can now continue working on the actual car. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll keep you guys updated on that when I've done some more important stuff. Rusty places like this, for instance, and this. Ooh, and that. So we'll probably see that on a future episode or something. Take care.